I'm sorry. Hello? Is that the phone ringing? I'm sorry about that.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Arts and Culture Commission. It is Thursday, February 20th. Can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Hovhannissian?
Yes.
Kivanian?
Here.
Lee?
Here.
Sharikian?
Yes.
Chairperson Deaver.
Here.
The agenda for the February 20th meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall on February 14th, 2014.
Next item.
Item 2, consent items. At 2A, approval of meeting minutes from January 16th, 2014.
I will move the minutes for approval.
I'll second. Roll call.
I have
comments?
a correction on 6 commission staff comments. On my comment, I remember saying Happy Chinese New Year, and Chinese New Year being January 31st.
Other corrections? None. An amended motion?
Are you moving?
With the amendments?
Oh, yes. I will move the minutes with the added
And I'll second.
addition from Commissioner Lee.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hovhannissian?
Yes?
Kivanian?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Sharikian?
Yes.
Chairperson Deaver.
I think that needs to be an abstain, right?
Stay.
And yes. Next item.
Item 3, introductions and presentations. At 3A, YMCA Development Project, presented by Mike Portney, Community Development Department.
Okay. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Mike Fortney. I'm the Senior Housing Project Manager for the city. I was led to believe that y'all are fairly familiar with the Meta Project. Is that right? The Meta Project at YMCA campus?
Not as a body, I don't believe, maybe independently.
Okay. What I'll probably ask then is if I could come back. Obviously, I'll give you an update, but if I could come back, I have a PowerPoint presentation that I can give to you. I was under the impression that you were more familiar with the project. So just to give you an overview, it's the YMCA campus just a couple of blocks down on Wilson and Kenwood. They own, obviously, the SRO Hotel on the corner. They own their big gym facility, but they also own property surrounding it, and that property contains 2 apartment buildings and a lot of surface parking. So the idea was to do a project in cooperation with the YMCA, and there was a proposal early on to do a senior housing project there, and we kind of rejected that, and we went and issued an RFP. In fact, about a year ago today, we issued the RFP to solicit developers. We got 10 developers to submit proposals to us, a total of 12 proposals. One gave us 3. And through the whole process, and we had Annette Vartanian with arts, we had staff from planning, we had myself, of course, and others, and we all, brought this down. And ultimately, we selected Meta Housing. And we gave them an exclusive negotiating agreement in October. And so then it was go through entitlements, and I'm happy to say 2 days ago in this room we got the entitlements for the project. It was close, but we got it. So what it is a 70-unit affordable housing project. It's called the Glendale Arts Colony, and it's 70 units, mix of 1s, 2s, and 3s. There are some lofts in the project as well, and there's also 1,000, call it 50 square foot public-private art gallery. And if you're familiar with the site, and again, when I make the PowerPoint presentation, I'll be a little more clear, but there's a motor court now that the YMCA facility uses, and it's in between the SRO Hotel and the gym facility. We're going to spruce that area up real nice, have a pedestrian walkway, and at the end of that pedestrian walkway will be the art gallery. So it'll have real good visibility there, and it'll be on the back end of the new apartments. So our schedule now calls for 2 weeks from today applying for tax credits up at the state. And the Housing Authority committed $6.1 million to the project. We're going for roughly $20 million in state tax credits. And fingers crossed, 60 days after that, we'll get an award letter, and then we will negotiate an affordable housing agreement with Meta, and probably January of next year we'll break ground if we get those all those approvals in place. So, again, I'm happy to come back at the next regularly scheduled meeting and actually give a PowerPoint presentation. I do have one extra hard set of the plans that I can leave with y'all, and I can either give to Cindy or Annette a electronic version of this as well, so you can be familiar with it. So, and of course, I can try to answer any questions you might have.
I have one question, but I don't know if I need to direct it towards you or else. I wanted to know, how would that art gallery be managed? Who would be? Would it be the city? Would it be the Library and Art and Culture Commission? How do we envision this? Or would it be YMCA who would be kind of managing and organizing and new stuff?
Right. Have not had really any discussions as far as even how it's going to be laid out, the interior of the art gallery, who's going to use it, any of that stuff, and who's going to manage it. Probably not the city, probably not the YMCA. It'd probably be Meta. They have Engage is their nonprofit service provider. They do a lot of art-related services for their residents, and that's what they'll be providing for the residents in the new building. So probably they would manage it. But we're going to start the discussions now while we're waiting for TCAC, the tax credits, and try to figure that stuff out, and that's going to be a huge part of that.
It's fair to say, though, that the part of the agreement is that space has a community use. So even that we're talking about, regardless of who might be managing it, the intent is that it will be somehow programmable and available in some capacity for community use or participation.
Yeah, that was the whole idea. Right next to the Arts and Entertainment District, we wanted this gallery to be public. The residents here might use it as well, but it really was meant to be a public gallery. So I know there's some art organizations in the city. I'm not that familiar with them. Of course, Annette is, and so it's just a matter of getting with them and figuring out how we do it. But yeah, it's absolutely intended to be a public use.
Other questions, comments?
Commissioner Deaver, I think, Chairperson Deaver, I do believe that that's a major point, because Commission for many, many years has asked for an art gallery for the community. So we want to see how this is going to be utilized. So if this is going to provide or accommodate what was wished for so many years, that's fine. If not, then we need to do all the legwork necessary to start something or to look elsewhere. That's why, to me, that's very important to find out where we stand on that, and where does the community stand on that special thing.
Okay. I would just say to that, it was our intent all along. That's exactly why we pushed to get it, just because that's what you all asked for.
And Annette's been involved in a lot of that because of that. Other questions, comments? Thank you. Yes? You can ask the question. I don't think it pertains to housing. The question...
Well, the question is usually any kind of development in the city, there is that 1% or 2% that comes to for the urban art. I wanted to see how does that work, or that's not still in the process, or we don't know yet on that.
No, the art fee, the 1% art fee that's applied, affordable housing projects are exempt from that fee. We're exempt from parks, library, and the arts fee.
So the concession of the fact that it is for artists, it's targeted to some extent to artist households, and the community gallery component almost is just as good in some ways. So it's still, the intent is there, even though that 1% isn't affected.
Right, even though we're exempt from that 1%. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've built probably 12 affordable housing projects since I've been in the city, and they're all exempt. But this particular one, even though it is exempt, is providing an art component to it. And there's some art components to the project itself, aside from the gallery, and you'll be able to see that more clearly when you look at the plans or when I do the PowerPoint presentation.
It would be great if you can come back at some point. I know that a lot of that's available online because it's had to go through certain approval processes, and we've been a little bit aware of it, but I don't think we've had a formal presentation to be able to be walked through what does it mean for artists in our community, and what's happening with the community space, and what's the full timeline, and who is Meta, and all of those questions. I think would be just great for our commission because we will be going out into the community and probably getting questions about it since it pertains to the arts. So the more information that we have at our disposal, proposal that we can share with the community, I think would be great. But congratulations on getting that to the next level, and good luck with the tax credits. I know it's a highly competitive process.
Okay, I appreciate it. I would just say, finally, what I'm prepared to do at the next meeting would just be a presentation of what the project looks like, how it's laid out, things of that sort.
Great.
Boring money numbers may not be
like
interested
that part too.
Okay,
Some of
yeah.
us like that. Yeah.
I could go through all that stuff with you. And then if you wanted another update, once we know if we're going to get tax credits or not, that'd probably be about 60, 90 days from now, somewhere in that time frame. And then somewhere in that time frame, too, I think we'll hopefully have figured out some of the programming, and then I could update you on it as well.
Sounds great, thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
Thank
And
you very
I'll leave
much.
this.
Kind of stuff.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item.
At 3B, information on murals, presented by Roger Dolan and Emily Goff.
Oh, hello. Hi. I'm Roger Dolan. Emily couldn't be here today. She's teaching. She's a teacher over at Daly High School. And I just want to give you a quick background. I know I only have 10 minutes, right? I'm a muralist for 30 years. And this piece of paper that I gave you is what my company used to do, which was murals for hospitals. And we did exterior, interior, all kinds of things. But for the last 10 years, I've been primarily involved with community murals. And a lot of that took place here in Glendale at Daly High School. And so this tells you a little bit about what we've been doing at Daly. When Emily and I started talking to kids about murals and mural projects, I showed them this presentation, and I'm going to go through it really fast just to show you guys the history of murals, because just like how we adorn our bodies with art, we also, from early man, adorned our walls with art. And so I tell kids that because it's part of our humanity. And this takes us all the way up to the WPA murals. And then this is what's happening now, and this is like Philadelphia. And a lot of these murals in Philadelphia are painted in the same way that we paint the murals at Daly, which is on a material called Pellon. And then it's painted at the school, and then it's taken to locations and applied, and it saves, it lets more kids participate, it lets more people participate, and it allows us to do it in all kinds of weather. This is Chicano Park in San Diego, and so you can see before and after and how the murals make a big difference on these walls. And then the Olympics, they put up some murals. And, of course, famous muralists like Kent Twitchell. This is a guy painting in Pacoima right now, Levi Ponce. And murals can be all different types of materials as well, including fabric. This is a yarn mural at the Crafts Museum. This mural was painted with senior citizens at Eagle Rock. And they painted squares like this. We worked with community members to bring them into the senior house, so we got people together for this. And then we glued them up, and then we had a big unveiling. The next one. Now I'll show you how we work at Daly a little bit. We do murals always a little different each time. We do them on Pellon, but this is what Daly looked like when I started there 7 years ago. And we took, as soon as I got there, I said, oh, we got to do that whole wall, the whole top thing like that. And so in this case, we actually asked the kids in the class to come up with designs. And then we worked together as a class to pick the best parts. So these are some of the different designs. We showed them how to do elevations and grids, and then had them draw these things, and taught them how to paint. We had them mix colors. All the colors in all the murals we've done were from the three primaries and white. So we taught them how to mix all their own colors. And this was a transformative experience for these kids because, first of all, Daly, they're not really wanting to be there in the first place. But this actually brought them back to school to want to see what was going on. We did some of the work on Pellon. which is up here, the material, mural material, and then we actually did this part directly on the wall. So you can see we laid out the whole school. It was a perfect studio for mural making, and we made at least a dozen or 20 murals there. And we painted all on these things. We had printouts of what each section would look like, and then we just kept painting. And I think the kids had a good time. And you can see all the different sections of the mural coming together, including that's the very top of the mural. And then we had just installed it with this thing in a couple of days. And so it took a trimester to paint it, or 2 trimesters to paint it. But kids couldn't have been able to go up and down that thing like that. So what it looks like now. That was the class that we did it. We also did a project with the Sunrise Rotary Club. There was Avin Khachaturian, and he was like the president of that. And we had him and some other prominent Glendalians come to our class and talk about their background and their history. As a class, we started putting these things into images, and then we would go through and we would say, which parts do you like, which parts do you not like? So it was everything we did was a group involvement. And then we got them all up and drawing on the walls. We came up with a big image that we liked, and then we broke it down into little squares. We had, 600 squares. We had over 100 students participate in this project, each one copying from a little square to a bigger square. And then we put them up in these pre-made sections like this, and then eventually we had this at the Glendale Library for our first unveiling of this. And this guy, when he came in, he goes, "Now that's unity." And then we have it, and now it's up in its permanent location at the Salvation Army. And this was a project this is interesting. We did this project for East Lake Juvenile Hall, which some of our kids had actually been to and been through. So it was kind of relevant for them to see the story. They had family members there. This was the building at, it's basically a juvenile detention center downtown Los Angeles. And they wanted to do something on the wall. I contacted them and actually talked to them. And we came up with a couple of different designs for this. This was the one that they picked. And it had to do with time. And on the left, you see time as how it can build your life up. And on the other side, it was kind of like time can also degrade it and tear it down. But we gave them 3 choices. They picked the one they wanted. And we showed them this is a Photoshop drawing. So we show people how these murals can look once they're on walls, different ones. And then this was us painting it here. The students working all together on this. But this was painted 4 or 5 years ago, and because it's on Pellon, sometimes they didn't have the urgency to put it up on the wall as if we were up there painting it. So it stood in the studio for 5 years until we actually worked out the insurance and the logistics and an extra. They had to come up with extra money to do the installation. But we painted it over a summer, after school. The kids really bonded together on this project, and it was a lot of fun. And then we did actually last year get to install it. And so here we are putting it up in pieces, and the installation took 5 days, something like that. I think 3 days. There it is. And it really made a huge difference, not only for the people, the kids there, but the staff. I mean, they came up, they stood around, they talked to us. It was really amazing process. This is just one other one that we did. We did this in our school based on Franklin Elementary Schools, what they asked us for, which was a map of the world, because they're a foreign language magnet now. So they wanted to do this map. So our class, besides putting up this map and painting it, each kid made little icons of different countries. So they got to pick their own icons. They really had a good time with that. And they could sit at their desk and paint it. And then we glued them all up. And then there it is, installed. We actually used some of our students, pay them and help them In fact, some of the students I worked with 7 years ago now work for me in different projects. So it's been a pretty good process altogether, everybody helping out. This is the project. We won this competition for the city of Glendale a few years ago. We had a day in the park set up so the community came to the park. We made it. We designed this one, Emily Goff and myself. Emily really designed it, and we planned it in such a way that we had these circles already made, and then kids could come, and family members, everybody could come and paint this thing. And this was the design for it. And this was the photoshopped version of this to show what it was supposed to look like. The background, we just had kids come and put paint on big pieces of canvas. Then we had people come. We had kids even participating. Put this all together, and then here it is actually installed. We also had a section here. We did this at the park that same day, but now we got to install them. This was, everybody got to put their name on a piece of paper and do lettering, and so these kids and their names and their families will see this in this park for 20, 30 years to come easily, because this will be up forever. It's in interior as well. We did this project for the YMCA just last year. I forget what the reason was. It was something like a thank you to them for letting us basically always using their gym and everything like that. So Emily picked a picture. We came up, all the kids in the class came up with different color versions. Then we had a day. Oh, it was also an event for the school. That's right. It was an event for the school for the graduating class. So we had, this was all done basically in one day of painting. And so the kids sat around at tables. We gave them the pre-made squares. They painted their own sports image because for the YMCA. And these are kids that never painted before, but they just had a great time sitting around and talking. There's like 50, 60 kids out there painting. And we provided the paint and the buckets and the tables. And then in the classroom, we put the stuff all together. 5 minutes left?
No.
And then we organized them into the squares on the pre-made material again, and then we installed it up in the YMCA. And basically you got that. And the red, we tied into the red stripes. They were making the spin rim there, so we tied into the red on the side so to kind of make it all fit together. Oh, that's the end. So I guess that's it. But just to say that for community murals, by using Pellon, you have a lot of flexibility, and also there's more than one way to use the Pellon, put it up on the wall. The Pellon process I actually learned from a mural conservator named Nathan Zackheim, whose father painted some of those WPA murals that I showed here. And he invented this process, but now it's used throughout the city of Philadelphia. If it's used there, it holds up in freezing cold temperatures, so it's pretty good. I don't think they install them in the freezing cold, though. I'm sure they paint them then, and then they install. But so I think that's basically it. And if you have any questions,
Well, first the comments, congratulations, and thank you for the good work. I've always been very proud of our Daily High kids.
Yeah.
And what you guys are doing, you know, that art, like music, is a universal language of human beings, and you connect all these kids together, and you make them kind of feel useful, to feel connected with the world around them, which is a major, major step that I cannot even put in words. Now, going back to the artistic part of it, what is Pellon? Is it a kind of a big cardboard kind of, or is it
the
a
material?
metal? Yeah, is it a material that you spread on something? How does it work?
The material itself is called Pellon. It's also called interfacing. You can buy it at fabric stores. It's basically a synthetic, non-woven material.
And then you put it on something.
It's used in collars to make things stiffer, or behind embroidered things. It comes in a bolt from the fabric store, and then you prepare it with varnish on both sides of it. So it becomes exterior proofed at that point, and then and it's sealed, right? It's porous at first, and then it's sealed with the varnish on it. Then you can put paint on top of that, and then you have this flexible fabric material. You glue it onto walls. The walls themselves usually are better if they're smooth, but if they're a rough texture wall, you can put thin set on it, and we did that for one of our murals at Daly. And then you paint them, and you apply them with this stuff called Nova Gel, which is basically the stuff that acrylic paint is made out of, but without the pigment.
Well, this is all very exciting. You know that in olden times they would put hundreds and hundreds of eggs to prepare a wall for any kind of oil painting or any kind of mural, and this is such a miracle with
It's
whatever.
a miracle. It is.
And I'm so keen and interested because I'm also involved with the project that we have with the big murals in the public places. So hopefully we'll see you and your people there also. Anyhow, thank you very much. May God bless you for all the good work.
All right, thank you.
Other comments? Commissioner Strickland.
I would like to say thank you for all the work that you did with the kids for two reasons. Number one, encouraging art, and that's my love to art, and see how the kids work together.
Yeah.
My question is there any way you public relation this events, talk to media on TV somewhere in Glendale so they are aware of it other than the school?
We have actually gotten a lot of publicity from the Glendale news press on all of these.
Okay. How about
projects.
our channel here, something like that we went out? No?
We could probably do more of that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I agree with you. It could be known by more
people,
about
exactly.
what we're doing.
Okay. One recommendation, if you have a picture and you can make a postcard and just distribute them around the Glendale, and that will make a positive attitude too.
Okay, and we made these,
Yeah, I've seen this, yeah.
and we could, if you know a way to pass these out more, we could do that.
Good job.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Other questions? Comments?
How do you spell Pilon, by the way?
Pellon is Pellon. I think Joanne's has it, and we go down, oh no, well, we used to go down to Michael Levine's downtown, the Fabric District to get, but now I have another source.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. As my fellow commissioner said, your work is tremendous, and we appreciate all you do with the students and here in Glendale and the skills that they're learning and everything. So thank you for sharing, and we will have you back at some point if we have further questions as we get into all of our mural projects here in
very
Glendale.
exciting.
Good.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you.
Next item.
At 3C, Brown Library and Arts Center, presented by Chuck Wyke, Community Relations Manager.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioner Deaver, commissioners, city staff. Today I'm going to just give you a brief overview of some of our upcoming events, specifically the Brand Library and Arts Center reopening. But tonight, something you probably know about, the Actors Fund is coming in to talk about Covered California, affordable health care. They're going to come into the Central Library tonight at 7 o'clock. We expect a good crowd for that. Also, one of our city groups is going to be there also. Verdugo Job Center, they're also going to be there. And then we have, in March, we have a couple more Covered California workshops at a couple of our branches. It's really, really good to get this out. Of course, next week, I hope you can all attend. One Book, One Glendale with Chris Bojalian. He's excited to be here. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with him, and Artie Kasakian, our city clerk, is going to be in conversation on the floor of the Central Library. Those two will put on a real good show, and I expect a big crowd. So, for Brand Library, there's Chris. After a couple of years, we are reopening. It's been a pretty extensive renovation. The opening day is scheduled for March 27. And that's a Thursday, and there will be a ribbon cutting that morning. I'm just kind of going to roll through some recent pictures of the exterior up there. It's been a long time in coming, so the week of March 22 through the 30th, we'll have a number of events. On Saturday, March 22, from 6 to 10 p.m., there will be a gala event. This is a ticketed event. You can pick up your tickets through Glendale Arts or any of their outlets. We'll include self-tours of the site, live jazz, refreshments, and you'll really get the first look at what's gone on at Brand Library. The tickets are limited, so you want to pick up your ticket right away. Again, GlendaleArts.org will be the sales for that. On March 27, again, we have a ribbon cutting. That's at 10:30 in the morning, and I hope you will all be there. I'll send you an official email on that, but we'd like you to be there. The facility will actually open up just after that. So we'll take pictures. So again, I hope you're in the pictures. But at 11 o'clock, we'll be open for business. There's going to be the first gallery reception on Saturday, March 29, I believe at 7 o'clock. We have 5 different artists. There'll be wine and light refreshments. It should be a very nice evening. And then the next day, on Sunday, March 30th, from noon to 4, we're going to have a big open house in the park and the library. So we will have, again, live jazz, food trucks, climbing wall, face painting. We're going to have a group in there that was at one of our previous Brand Library events, and they're going to silk screen the brand logo onto T-shirts and tote bags for a price. I believe the staff wants to continue to try and sell used items or donated items. So I believe there's going to be a book, music, and maybe art sale that day. We'll have representatives from a number of community organizations. The police will be there with a K-9 unit. There'll be a giant fire truck there you can climb around on. Members of the Historical Society will be there. Of course, the Associates of Brand Library, who, by the way, are sponsoring the gala, they will be there also. Our friends of the library will be there. It'll be quite an event. It's just 4 hours. It's free to the public. There will be something for everyone, from little kids to the senior like me. So I hope you can all attend one of those. I believe in your packet I gave you a press release with those dates and the particular items. So that's about it for my report. Are there any questions?
Questions or comments? I just wanted to reiterate for the Actors Fund that's doing the program tonight for the Covered California. I think they are actually the only organization, nonprofit, arts-oriented organization that can do this type of thing for Covered California officially. So any artists out there that have that particular angle will certainly benefit from tonight's.
Yeah, and they said artists, performing artists, so musicians, actors, self-employed artists of any kind. This is going to be a real good program for you.
And behind-the-scenes entertainment as well, I believe that they
I believe so.
And
if you're self-employed and in the arts, this is the one to go to.
Great. Thank you so much for the update.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item 4, oral communications.
And we have no cards. Next item.
Item 5, business agenda. At 5A, action items. At 5A1, Bob Hope Airport banner contest.
I'll start off. No, come on up. I'll just start off by saying this is our annual event that we always look forward to, and that's the selection of the tower banner for the Bob Hope Airport, sponsored by the Bob Hope Airport Authority. And just to quickly say what the process is, the authority reaches out to Glendale, Burbank, and Pasadena libraries, right, school districts, and the top 3 entries are coming to each of the arts commissions in each of the respective cities, and today the top 3 are coming from Glendale for you to make your 1, 2, and 3 choices. So with that, Jacqueline Scott is here to give us a little more information.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chairperson Deaver and commissioners, for helping us make this very difficult decision. This year, the district had a total of about 80 entries from 4 high schools, so from Glendale High School, Hoover High School, Clark Magnet High School, and Crescenta Valley High School. And so each high school held their own kind of mini contest, and then they brought forth a total of 24 entries. And then we had a competition at the end of January, and that has resulted in the top 3 that you can see through the artwork on the PowerPoint. So we had artwork A, and this one was entitled Flying with Liberty. Artwork B is entitled Skies of Freedom. And the last artwork, C, was called Fly Free Day and Night. And so based on the winners of that, all 3 of those students are going to be honored on March 3rd in the morning at the Burbank Airport. And the district is going to receive a nice donation check for our participation in that. The winner that you've selected will have their artwork on the banner outside the facade of the airport, which is really special. But I know that inside the airport in various areas, all 3 of the top artwork from each of the districts is presented. So it has its moment to shine, even though it might not be outside. But I think we could all agree it's fine efforts from our students this year. So thank you for really helping make the hard decision. Took the onus off of us.
You did a lot of hard work yourself, though, getting it to that point, I think.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your collaboration.
So I have, before me, I have each of the artworks and the scoring, because there's a full matrix of scoring that each of the commissioners went through with about 5 or 6 different categories, I think, that we were looking at. So I can go through and score for each artwork and with each commissioner and what the score was, and then we'll give the final tallies at the end and announce that winner. Is that appropriate? So for Art A, which we have up there currently, Commissioner Shirikian 34, Deaver 30, Derhovanassian 35, Kivanian 26, and Commissioner Lee 39. Those were the total tallies under each of those. For Art B, which is displayed currently, 33 for Commissioner Shirikian, 30 for Deaver, 30 for Derhovanassian, 32 for Kivanian, and 38 for Lee. And then for C, we have Shirikian with 22, Deaver with 31, Derhovanassian with 25, Kivanian with 36, and Lee with 36, with a total winning score of 164 for artwork A.
Fantastic.
A very close count across the board.
Close. Yes,
And
thank you.
Yeah, really wonderful. We're always honored to be able to participate in this and celebrate our budding artists. And as a frequent traveler at Burbank, I'll be excited to see that. Other comments and questions from
Just wanted to say that the painting number A is unbelievably interesting to me. I think visually it's fantastic. And as far as the theme goes, like the number 2, the B one, was beautifully as an artwork, but when the theme comes as the freedom and freedom in the sky, or anything within that level, I admire the youngsters' vision, and especially the way to put it with the Statue of Liberty, which is the sign of that for all of us Americans. So it is unbelievably beautiful, I think. It has everything that needs to be there.
Other comments?
Question regarding the high school involvement.
Yes.
The Burbank and Pasadena high schools were involved. Were there any results from there or any submissions?
Each school district kind of orchestrates their own contest as per the Burbank Airport criteria. So on March 3rd, the top 3 winners from each of those districts will be honored. But in Burbank, they go through the same process where the school district will select their top 3, and the Burbank Arts Commission would also select place 1, 2, 3, and same in Pasadena. So I'm not aware of those winners yet, but March 3rd, 9 a.m., come join us. It'll be fun.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time. Have a good day.
Do we have another comment? I'm sorry.
Oh, just to clarify, on our briefing, it says the measurements were 17 by 26. That should be 17 feet by 26 feet, right?
You are correct. Thanks for catching that.
And then, just so everybody knows that, I don't want to sound bad, but when we got our pictures, the label had the picture upside down.
Sorry.
Because we got it well.
It's reversible.
It technically, it's reversible, yes. So, but, this stands out more because if this is the ocean, this is the sky, it reflects on the ocean. But I think the vision of the artist was to make it both sides because I think it said in the theme day and night, right? Or something.
Was day and night.
Yeah.
Day and night.
Flying Free Day and Night was the title of that. Thank you.
Part of the artistry behind that.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so very much. Next item.
Do we not have to make a motion?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Was there a motion in the?
Well, because it's an action item, we have to make a
I'm
motion.
just trying to move things right along, aren't I?
I will make the motion to accept artwork A as the winning artwork according to the tally.
And I'll second it.
Roll call.
Commissioners Darrell Vanessian.
Yes.
Kevanian.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Shirikian.
Yes.
Chairperson Deaver.
Yes. Next item.
At 5A2, approval of utility box mural program, call for artist and program name.
Okay, staff is recommending that the commission approve the scope of work and call for artists for the utility box mural program. This program was approved by the commission as part of a 2-year work plan that you all put together, utilizing urban art funds and appropriating for this project not to exceed $30,000. As proposed, the program will be anticipated to cost about $20,000, and I think as discussed last month, remaining funds could be considered for Phase 2. Additionally, staff is recommending that the commission discuss and approve a name or a brand for the program. I think you decided on a theme last month, but this month we're deciding on a brand or a name. The proposed program will partner the commission with the Great American Cleanup, which is organized by the Community Development Department. And since our January meeting, the Committee for the Clean and Beautiful Glendale has voted to partner as well with the program. Each year, the Great American Cleanup engages volunteers to participate in a program that focuses on community beautification, and this utility box mural program definitely matches that goal, and it's a great opportunity to partner with them. Selected artists will partner with community members to create utility box murals in the downtown area. And in preparation for that event, which is tentatively planned for May 17th, 26 locations and public utility boxes have been identified and attached to your agenda packet. Besides agreeing to recommending to council the call for artists and the scope of work, we also are suggesting a couple of considerations for a brand name. One of them, Out of the Box Mural Program. The other one, Unexpected Beauty, and the third one, Miles of Murals. And I think we're open to other suggestions as well, but these were the preliminary options. So,
I thought we had determined the theme.
we did determine a theme. Well, this was, yeah, the theme, let me, hold on. The theme was separate from the name of the program. So the name of the program was to help identify this specific program and kind of elicit some excitement from the.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm forgetting the theme name at the moment, but I will pull that up for you.
Double take.
It was out of the oh no, sorry, what am I saying?
Double take.
It was double take, right?
Double take,
We had to
yeah.
kind of You mean we don't want to stick with utility box mural program? So, it sounds so exciting.
Well, that in itself is exciting after seeing Mr. Dolan's presentation, but yeah.
I would suggest if you take the first letter of each word, the utility BMP, it's bump, and you can go for A bump to art? I don't know. It's fun at the same time.
Maybe that's good because we don't know what kind of art's going to go onto these
Exactly.
boxes, so you shouldn't bump into the boxes thinking that's something else.
It's fun that something
idea.
different at the same time.
That is cute. So did you want to discuss the different options for names,
I'm
or
open for discussion, yeah.
all agreed to bump?
No, you got you bump.
You bump,
Utility you bump.
Well,
It's out of order in that case.
Sounds more interesting, you bump.
Maybe we should start with the options before us.
Yeah, I was gonna,
and decide if let's start with, are any of them not acceptable? Any initial reactions?
I like out of the box. That's where I am. Make it plain and simple. Or we can do on the box, since they're going to be painting or the murals are going to go on the box. But out of the box is fine with me. And does it have to be out of the box mural program? Can we just cross the mural program out of it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm okay with that.
No.
Just out of the box is
I think
fine.
that was just meant to be context of
Okay,
how
just-
you would see it.
Just making sure,
here.
because when
Yeah.
Cindy was reading, she read the whole thing, so I was just making sure.
I have another suggestion, something with similar, but I would go with the corner box. Most boxes are on the corners of the streets, and I would mention the corner box program, which is more it's better for the ear, and it is more reality that there are corner boxes and beautifying the corner boxes.
So you're adding other options out there. So in addition to what we have listed here, we have one vote for out of the box, and then additionally corner box bump or on the box. It's just things that have been kind of tossed around, if any of those appeal to anybody.
To me, out of the box kind of sounds much better because kind of out of that normal box, we are getting something much more. So it's not just the box, it's not just the corner box, it's not just the box we bump in, but it is the box that is out of the box. That means we have gone beyond the box to express something. But I'm fine with anyone. I won't just kind of rock the boat too much. It just, to me, out of the box is a very interesting word, especially the art boxes. Out of the box is using it in a different way.
Commissioner Lee, do you weigh in?
If we're staying within the three, then out of the box. But I sort of like the you bump.
Actually, I have one more, but it's beyond the box.
I like that. I would
Okay, that's what,
prefer...
okay.
Because the box is utility box, everybody knows it, but it's our purpose of the art is beyond.
Beyond the box.
Plantation box.
I like that very
I'm just
much.
coming up with ideas. I mean,
Shuriken.
but I think
If we give her any more time, he's just going to keep inventing
no. I'll
names.
stop right here.
It's,
I think my last suggestion will be beyond the box will be the ideal team.
And I'm sort of hearing that we'll substitute that for on the box or out of the box, and maybe we can all
Beyond the
Sing
box
some nods there.
That sounds
Yeah.
good to
I
me.
think
Beyond the
we're all in sync.
Are we all
Yeah,
in
beyond the
agreement?
box sounds good. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll need a motion for that.
Yeah, I will make a motion to move the proposal as is and to name
Program.
the utility box mural program to be named Beyond the Box.
Yeah.
And I second it.
Roll call?
Yes.
Commissioners Terhovenessian?
Yes.
Kavanian?
I actually had a question. Should we not be discussing some of the other items?
Talked about it last time.
The last meeting,
Okay.
we talked about it in great detail, and if in review, it looks like everything was incorporated that was discussed.
Just wanted to make
but,
sure because
yeah.
I felt like we were moving a little fast. But yes.
Good. So,
Commissioners Terhovenessian?
yes.
Kavanian?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Shurikian?
Yes.
Chairperson Deaver?
Yes.
And Chair Deaver, for clarification, the motion did encompass the proposal that was laid out in the staff report. Am I correct?
Correct. Yes. Next item?
At 5A3, recommendation for approval of professional service agreements. At 3A, John David O'Brien for art and vacant storefronts.
This is an incredibly productive meeting. I want to congratulate all of you. So the second proposal or program that we're highlighting today is the Art and Vacant Storefront program that was also part of your 2-year plan and to be funded from the Urban Art Fund, not to exceed $60,000. Staff recommends that the Commission recommend to City Council approval and authorization of a professional service agreement with John David O'Brien. Staff solicited proposals, and the selection committee determined that John O'Brien met all the criteria and demonstrated a level of experience needed to meet the goals of the program. His team has a proven track record of quality installation and exhibitions, organizing and marketing art events, and coordinating public art programs in municipalities. City staff will work with Mr. O'Brien to develop the RFP and ensure that local and regional artists are alerted to that. And with that, I'd like to introduce Mr. O'Brien to give you more information.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Deaver and Commissioners. Thank you for receiving me and accepting my proposal. I was asked by Annette Vartanian to give you a little bit of a thumbnail of how I've been involved in the arts over the years. I've been oscillating between Los Angeles and Italy ever since I moved here in the late 80s. And in the Los Angeles area, I got started doing work with organizations such as FAR, Foundation for Art Resources, who basically tried to put artists into sites that were abandoned buildings, areas that were going to be reconstructed. I went from there and being on that board to going over to SITE, S-I-T-E Gallery, and we worked on the 7th Street area in downtown Los Angeles before it was actually the thriving environment that it now is in the Roosevelt Building. So I was responsible for a lot of that programming. I worked with side street projects. These were all things that I considered secondary to my practice as an artist, both in public art and in studio art. But over the years, I've done it again and again and again, working in traditional and non-traditional environments. And so a couple of years ago, when I got a California Community Grant Foundation for my work as an artist, I finally embraced all of the parts of the art world that I work within. And so I decided I would step forward and accept that, in fact, I work as an artist, but I also work as an arts coordinator, I also work as an arts curator, I also work as an arts writer, and instead of pretending like these are all things that don't work together, I rolled them into John David O'Brien. I have, besides that experience on the even more practical side, I was the main preparator at the Armory Center for the Arts for about 5 years. I'm on a special installation liaison for Art Center. I've worked at co-curator in places that are traditional, such as the Otis School, where I just curated a show with Meg Linton, or Art Center College of Design, where I curated one with Stephen Nolan. And I'm an ongoing curatorial coordinator, which is slightly different in that it works the way I would be working with the city here, in a much more collaborative fashion, not a curator who comes in with their idea, but someone who comes and cultivates and pulls out the ideas of a specific environment. And I've been doing that up at the Haga Gallery in Descanso Gardens, where a couple of years ago they brought me in to work with an exhibition committee and to work with a constituency that, quite frankly, had not really seen much contemporary art. So we've, over the last couple of years, gotten a very good response from the community. They're very happy with what we're doing, and it's included things that are contemporary art shows, but we also recently did a juried show, which includes 154 works from a much broader swath of the art world, people who might only paint on the weekends when they're off from their jobs, alongside people who do it as their primary occupation. I was thinking the best thing to do would be to turn myself over to your questions so that I can address those more. Is that enough of a thumbnail to give you an idea? Or is there something specific, Chairperson, that you'd like me to address?
I think that's very helpful. We had, the way we went through this process is we broke into committees to review applications. So there are at least a couple of commissioners that would be very familiar with it, and others that aren't. Will be relying on the expertise and opinions of our fellow commissioners. So I think that's really helpful for those of us who are not familiar or have not met you in the past. But so I know at the committee level we've gone through all of this in great detail and we'll rely upon that. But are there questions or comments from commissioners?
Just one little one, maybe. I don't know if it was part of your presentation as well or not, because I wanted to see, when you are making decisions, would you have kind of like the artists in the community also be part of it? Would you have a kind of a committee for that? Or would there be any session of questions and answers or anything of the nature that would involve the artists in our community?
Absolutely. I know the art world primarily from the greater Los Angeles area through a university connection and then through the galleries and the world of museums. However, I'm also familiar with the Glendale Community College and a number of people who teach there. And Annette Vartani and I have talked about this extensively. The idea would not be to charge in as a curator and make decisions from above, but to come into a community and discover what the different art worlds are within that community and find a way to work with those communities in such a way that everyone is included and not excluded. To that extent, I'd be working closely with Annette, with Joy and her group, and with this commission, if you so desire, to actually select things. The ownership of a public art project that takes place in vacant storefronts is not specifically the purview of the fine art world. It's of a broader sphere, as we've seen in the presentations, the world that comprises muralists, the world that comprises young people. And the idea of doing art in vacant storefronts is to activate the environment, not to be exclusionary. I'm very interested in museums, and I would have to say that if I was going to give you my own personal bias, Commissioner, I prefer LACMA to MoCA because I think it's more accessible. But in a program such as this one, the idea of being inclusionary is extremely important. And at the same time, to try to put in some things, as happened up at Descanso, that are contemporary and therefore slightly different for people who haven't experienced it. But the idea of incrementally moving an audience from an absolute lack of awareness of contemporary art to one where they actually like it instead of feeling like they're being invaded by it, those are the kinds of processes I would set up in this type of a situation.
I appreciate the explanation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Just again, technical question. Do you have a team you work with?
Yes. I am a single individual, and the way that I've been working constantly over the last 3 years is with other independent contractors. I bring in professional photographers, professional preparators, a professional PR group that I worked with recently down at the Los Angeles World Airports. So as part of a program called Influx. These are all things that the budget's going to get broken down into so that it goes to specific people with expertise. I have specific expertises. I know a lot about the mainstream media, particularly the newspapers and the specialized magazines, but we've talked about, with Ms. Vartani and I, about having also different kinds of outreach, maybe with Twitter, maybe through websites, and all of that I would be bringing professionals in who do this, who already have this experience, and with whom I've worked in the past. The Azcona and Rogers group I worked with was down at Influx at LAWA. I've also worked with Carolyn Campbell. She's been responsible for things like, the Pacific Standard Time out in Pomona. These are things that I think need to be sectioned out. And even for the installation and preparatorial work, I work with people who work regularly at MoCA, LACMA, or Art Center. Luckily, though, Commissioner, I actually did that stuff for years, so it's good to know what they're doing. I don't bring them in because I can't do it. I bring them in because it's good to be focused on different parts of the project.
Could I say something? I like, again, that was a major part because you are hired also to bring that professional view and to create and structure it in the proper way. But meanwhile, as I said, I do believe that I want our community artists to feel that they own it too. That's very important. They need to feel that this is part of their world, because this is something new. We did it for some years as GATE, but nonetheless, I want them to feel really at home and to be proud to be part of Glendale and to work with you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate it.
Just to add, I had the pleasure of meeting with John in this process, and I'm going to use very non-political terms. He's a very cool guy, and he understands how to work with other people. And for me, that's part of the most important thing. And he understands the relationship between the staff, through Ms. Vartanian, and through us as commissioners, and himself. He understands how that whole thing plays out, and we talked about that extensively in our meeting, which was very cordial and polite, which is not usually the case with artists. But
we're going to change that.
It was super fun. We had great laughs and all that kind of stuff. So I'm looking very much forward to working with Mr. O'Brien on this project.
We all do, and you know that we are responsible towards the council for the choices and decisions made. So we are very proud that our staff have come with this, and commissioners who are involved, that they have come with you and they have chosen you as the person who's going to help us to make it unique and wonderful.
Thank you. I look forward to working with this commission, and if it's possible to bring to the council with your support, I would be very honored.
having said that,
That's
may
a
I
great
make
transition.
Make a motion to approve Mr. O'Brien for the art and vacant storefront.
I'll second it.
Just to clarify, is it for a recommendation for approval as opposed to approval? Because we don't have.
Oh, right, recommendation for approval, correct. Thank you.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Commissioners Hovhanessian?
Yes.
Kavanian?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Sharikian?
Yes.
Chairperson Deaver?
Yes.
And I loved your discussion of the rebranding. I think that Beyond the Box is great. They have one down in Pasadena that I'm involved with as an artist, and it's still being called Public Utility Box in the Playhouse District area.
I was only going for that
No
one. but,
acronym whatsoever. Maybe for the art and vacant storefronts, we can think up something a little bit more exciting along the lines of Gate without using Gate. I had two that I thought momentarily, but there's still this is something that professionals should do. One was Gala, Glendale Area Locations or Locus for the Arts, and the other one was Guests, Glendale Urban Exhibition Series and Storefronts, both of which might be nice. In any case, it's still going to be left to more professionals. Those are what I came up with late at night talking with my son. Sometimes what I do.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next item.
At 3B, AFTA Productions for Temporary Exhibitions in Public Spaces.
And our third program that's going forward is, as was stated, temporary art exhibitions in public spaces. The program's intent is to create professional quality temporary art exhibitions in site-specific locations. And we are asking for your recommendation to approve and authorize the execution of a professional services agreement with Art from the Ashes or Art AFTA Productions to manage this program. Staff solicited, just as they did with the other programs, proposals, and selection committee determined that Art from the Ashes best met all the criteria stated in the request for proposals. Their proposal recommends locations throughout the city, which I'm sure they will go over with you, and staff will eventually work with them, if accepted, to ensure that local artists are pursued and know of the opportunity. With that, I'd like to introduce Joy Fuhr and her team to give you a little more detail.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Nice to be here, and again, we appreciate the opportunity to come forward and the consideration of the proposal. And I believe I've expressed on many occasions my personal excitement for building a cultural, creative climate in Glendale and being a part of that. I am a Glendale native. I think you guys know that as well. I'm a practicing artist, and I also have 25 plus years in entertainment executive arena, both on the corporate side, which I survived, years working for EMI Music and Capitol Records, R&S Productions, and then I took a decidedly left turn and went into the nonprofit sector, where I founded Art from the Ashes and AFTA Productions. And that brings me to staring at you now. I don't know what's in the future, but that's what's happening now. And in the scope of this spectrum of adventures and opportunities, I've honed my skills in sales and marketing, project management, design, developed a cheeky personality to keep a sense of humor in dealing with a lot of eclectic personalities, which I must enjoy because I choose to do it. And basically, I have a penchant to foster innovative, creative programming. It's sort of, what gets me going in the morning. And AFTA Productions combines the talent of an eclectic group of creative professionals with an extensive background in curation, marketing, show and set design, fabrication, including interior, exterior exhibitions, public commissions across a spectrum of disciplines. Our production team also has a pretty good mixed bag of nuts as far as contacts and creative resources that we would tap into to add the right kind of pizzazz and intrigue to the program. And that's probably a good time to introduce, I'd like to introduce two key members who will be part of the core team to pursue the temporary exhibitions program. And then I'll come back up to the mic and tell you a little bit more about our specific concept. But Stacy Condi and Nina Saville. One at a time.
Hi, I'm Stacy Condi. I'm a Glendale resident. I'm also an artist. I met Joy actually working in the music business. I have over 20 years experience working in music for doing PR, marketing, project production. I ran global marketing for Capitol Records and Virgin. And I did that for about all in all 20 years before I left and moved out here to California from New York and started my own business. Joy started Art from the Ashes After production several years ago, and I've been involved since the beginning. It's been a renaissance for me, a beautiful thing to be able to give back, do philanthropic work, and to kind of find my inner artist again after being in a corporate environment for a long time. So it gives me great pleasure, and also living off and on in LA and now being back in Glendale and being a local here really makes me excited to be able to dig in and do something great and artistic for the city. I handle all the PR for Art from the Ashes marketing. I do all the digital strategy, social networks, that kind of thing. For all of the work we've done so far, we've managed to get some really great press support, both here in Glendale for the events we've done here with the news press. We've had some great TV coverage, KTLA and Fox, and then some of the other exhibitions we've done outside of this area, we've had great press support as well. So I really enjoy doing that, and press always seems to be really receptive to creative stuff that we do. That's me.
Hi, everybody. Thanks. Nice to see you again. My name is Nina Saville, and I work with AFTA as a curator. My background is in fine art. I am from the East Coast, and I had an art gallery there that was actually successful for about 6 years, and then I moved to California in 2008 with a job to open a large art space in Culver City called Royalty. And I ran that place for about 3 years. I was the director and manager there, and we did probably about 200 events in 3 years. And we worked with everybody from LACMA and Disney to doing local fundraisers for schools to raise money for their arts and music program. It was pretty great. But in 2011, I met Joy. During that time, I'm also a working artist and met her in that capacity. And then I left my perfectly good job to pursue something that meant a whole lot more to me. And I've been a curator there for now about, since 2011. And we've done, as Joy will tell you, and as Stacy said, a lot of big events and community programming. Here's me. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys. So I want to give a little bit of an overview of the concept and how our train of thinking to approach the temporary exhibitions and public spaces program, which also needs a... we've had the privilege of working with the City of Glendale in the past and look very forward to partnering once again to create something that is dynamic and both taps into, resonates with the local community that work and live here, and also brings people into Glendale, because that's kind of a key thing. I live here, and I want people to want to come to Glendale to have an experience, and that's one of the goals that we wanted to do. And we sort of pride ourselves in coming up with concepts for all of our exhibitions and campaigns we do that are site-specific. So to that end, we wanted to create a concept that felt directly connected and aligned to Glendale. So we came up with the concept, "You Are Here." And we want to kind of take that tagline, and it directly relates and integrates to the idea and concept of a map, places on a map, a destination, which we feel might be kind of a fun alignment with not only the locations of the art around the city, it could be the proximity of the person standing in front of a public piece of art and having an experience. It could offer up, a bottomless pit of opportunity for people to share their experiences of that on social network. I mean, you can picture, hashtag Glendale, you are here, and hopefully we don't have to censor it, but hopefully people are having an experience in front of one of the public works of art that we've curated. So we want to have fun with it. We want to make it dynamic. We want to take up sort of the vibrancy factor and just the excitement factor. Look at curating innovative works of art that, again, will become more clear once we know the site locations. But we we want to kind of get a little crazy if we're allowed to. So, with the approval and sanction of approved art that will work in this city, we want to surprise people. We want people to want to, take time out of lunch and go walk and check something out. We want to get people talking about things. So that'll kind of be the approach with the theme and the art, and we'll have the theme be part of our curatorial approach. So when the artist selection process happens, which will go out to an open call to regional artists that have experience in exterior public art, and they'll be encouraged to play on that, however they see, fit. When they choose to make a submission, it'll obviously be woven into the marketing, and perhaps other ways as well that remain to be seen. So that's a little bit about the theme. The type of works I touched on a little bit, and obviously given the fact that this program is site-specific, our past history too, there are certain considerations that always have to be taken into account for a specific site location, what's around it, what type of art might make sense there. So that'll all come into being. But again, our approach will be able to, to try to, with the minimum of 8 exhibitions that we do, to really vary it up. We don't want to have the same thing happening everywhere. And again, we'll encourage innovative concepts. Integration, similar to John's approach, we're all about inclusion. So we don't want these works of art to pop up in isolation and have people go, we want them in a way to say, what the heck is that? But not, it's so isolated, it's not in context, it doesn't connect with any of the other creative programming or happenings going on in Glendale. So we'll make a point to be very integrated in the approach of the marketing and the timing, maybe even of when they launch. Makes it more fun and kind of amplifies the impact a little bit. Location. Yes, we have thought of some. We are familiar with Glendale. All the familiar ones that come up in the Arts and Entertainment District, Maryland Exchange, the gateways from both ends of Glendale coming from Atwater or coming from the 134 freeway, all the little arteries that people use to navigate to get around. But our process will be, we'll meet with the city in partnership and go through an inventory of options, and then see what comes up. There might be some interesting opportunities that come around the new developments that will be popping up, some of them in the time frame of this RFP. So that's it, and I'll open it up at this point too to questions and comments. But again, just want to say thank you for the opportunity and sticking it out and putting the work plan together. And it's really, it's amazing to stand here today and, hear about an arts colony in Glendale and several programs being approved. And it's spectacular. So.
Thanks. Questions?
Just one. Within public-owned spaces, is that still going on? Or?
That's going to be really up to the city staff that we meet with and sit down and we'll follow somewhat of a lead on what the vision is there, and then try to get the art that matches as appropriate.
I think the wording was along the lines of it's public space or publicly accessible space that a private owner was amenable to, but the public space being something that was the easiest we could do because this is a city partnership.
Right.
Other questions? Commissioner Cavagna?
Comment. No questions. I'm super excited that you guys were picked.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, I wasn't on that committee because I would have picked you guys anyway, probably. But I'm very, very excited for this because I know how much energy and with me and arts, I like to make people angry and upset. So I'm sure that you guys won't go that far, but
we'll try to aim for you. No.
All right, exactly. If you can make me upset about artwork, you've done your job. You are, but. I'm really, really excited about this, and I'm glad that you guys were picked because we've seen your work before, and we know you can even do better than that. And this is your chance. Enjoy.
comes to all the meetings. So that is fantastic. Thank you.
Just want to let you know that Glendale is a unique community. And I'm sure both of you guys live here, you've been around, and you know what Glendale is. It's a big challenge, especially public artwork. It's interesting at the same time, but it's going to be very attractive, not just for the visitors, but the most important thing for the Glendalians. I've been in Glendale for a long time too, and my kids were born here, and I want to see this change. And this challenge is not just for you; it's also for us. So therefore, do a good job.
We aim to.
Yes.
We love a good challenge, and every time we approach a new project, we never do anything the same because we get bored. So, who knows where we'll go? Sort of like the Dr. Seuss, the places we'll go together, right? So we'll figure that out.
I will just comment because I was on part of that panel as well, and we had met following that, and really appreciate, of course, everything that you bring to it, have seen much of the work that you've done, and also your understanding of Glendale and understanding that we need to be both familiar and unfamiliar and challenging and across the board and meeting all of that spectrum. And we know that you understand that and you bring the expertise across the board as well and the team to it. So I'm very excited about having you moving towards being on board. Commissioner Gavanian.
With that, I'll make the motion
I second it.
to recommend for approval of professional service agreement with AFTA. Sorry, I had to read that out. AFTA Productions.
Okay.
And second?
And I second it.
Roll call.
Commissioners Derhovanesian,
Yes.
Gavanian,
Absolutely.
Lee,
Yes.
Chirikian,
Yes.
Chairperson Deaver.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item 6, Commission staff comments.
Just one, because I need to leave a little bit earlier. Being the liaison to the brand associates and seeing how well they work. I've sent an email to all of them because I got late at night, so excited with everything, and I feel I have to even express it here. I see such phenomenal work and energy and direction and structure in whatever they are producing and how they are involved with our brand library as well as all the other stuff that they produce and present. And even with the fundraising and all the events that they put together, I really commend all the ladies who are involved in that organization. I told them I feel so proud to be able to be included, even if it's as a liaison, just to witness all the good work that they do. And we know that our chairperson is also involved with Brand Associates. She is the vice president for the Thing Association, and they're doing a great, great job. Thank you for all of the good work. I just wanted to public hear it as well. Thank you.
Other comments? Commissioner Gavanian.
A week from this coming Friday, not tomorrow, the next one, February 28th, the Lark Musical Society is having a concert, our local Lark Musical Society. Unfortunately, the concert is in Pasadena, not so local, but it's just a town next door. Actually, I'll be singing in the choir there if you have any interest at all to hear me sing. The program is going to consist of the Khachaturian piano concerto played by one of their graduates, Mozart C minor Mass. I will be in the bass section. Verdi, there's scenes from Rigoletto and Overture to La Forza del Destino, which is one of my personal favorite works of all time. You can find more information on itsmyseat.com for this particular event, and also you can call them. Lark's phone number is 818-500-9997. That's all. That is all for this month.
Other comments?
Happy Chinese New Year again. If anybody has time on, I think it should be March 1st, there's a Lantern Festival in Elvira Street in downtown LA. It will be on Saturday from noon to 10, I think, this year. They light up a dragon to prance around Elvira Street that glows in the dark. So it's really unique It's a free festival, so if anybody, everybody should come and enjoy. Thank you.
The only thing that I would add or to reiterate was with earlier when Chuck White had come and presented about the Associates of Brand Library and a lot of the events that are coming for the opening, that he had mentioned the gala and that those tickets are available now through Glendale Arts. It's a fundraising opportunity because the Associates is a nonprofit and the brand is supported by the work, so it's also an opportunity to see the new refurbished building and have a fun night, and then also to support our arts and music specialty library up there on the hill that'll be reopening.
I've been absent for a couple months, so I'm happy to be back, and I just want to commend all of you on the commission for the work that you have done, especially in the last 6 months to a year with developing the work plan, and then just seeing today the tremendous progress that has been made in relatively short amount of time. So I want to thank you. I know you've worked really diligently with Annette Vartanian and appreciate all her efforts. But I do want to commend you. I also would like to reiterate what Commissioner Derhafanessian mentioned about the Brand Associates. As the Director of Library Arts and Culture, it is a pleasure working with a volunteer group of that caliber. And once again, the date for the gala is March 22nd. And as Commissioner Deaver said, please get your tickets now because they will be running out soon. And the grand reopening, I'll reiterate that again, is March 27th at 10:30 in the morning, and the library and art center will be open from that point on. We're all looking forward to it. Thank you.
Commissioner Cavanian?
Also, I remembered, because I'm the liaison to the Glendale Arts Board, the reason I have nothing to report this month is simply because their meeting is postponed to next week. So no worries, I'm on it, but there was just simply no meeting. That is all. Now that is all finally.
Next item.
Item 7, written communications.
And we have none, which brings us to we are adjourned.